Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're not dueling today because it's been 5 days and I can't get duel footage worth anything. So it's a great day to go after what I'd like to see changed in Highlander. It's a great day for that because man, it's been rough. I have a feeling that they're gonna change Highlander soon. He's in that kind of space, like how old Lawbringer was. Some people can put work in with them, me included. But man, is it really annoying and difficult. Let's go over it. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible. I've got a page script note in front of me for defensive and offensive. I'll let you know when we go into offensive. Let's start with defensive. Lights are super slow. 600 ms lights don't belong in the game. His chain lights are 700 ms, so it only gets worse. Yeah, they have hyper armor, but no one's gonna fall for the. No one's. They're just 700 ms lights. If you can't parry that, I don't know what to tell you. Not to mention that in those chains, his second heavy comes out way faster. Not way faster. It comes out at 600 ms. So there's legitimately no reason to throw a chain light. Speaking of, we're gonna go right back into heavies. Heavies, we're just talking about side heavies. This top heavy is fine because it does lots of damage. His side heavies are 1000 ms with bad hyper armor that comes out at 800 ms, and they only do 35 damage. 35 damage is not a lot. Warlord has pretty good hyper armor, legitimately good hyper armor. It comes out faster, and it also does 35 damage. Berserker doesn't have hyper armor, but you can get after a GB. It does 33 damage. Take that as you wish. Those heavies are not good. Related to the heavies, if you're trying to parry if you're just aiming for indicators, that's the word. If you're just looking for indicators to parry a Highlander neutral light, and they throw out a heavy instead, unless you're playing someone like Highlander or someone with just a stupid long heavy animation, you can feint your heavy and block it. You're not going to get mixed up with it unlike if you're going to do like an Aramusha. If you're going to parry an Aramusha light and they throw a heavy instead, you'll get hit with the heavy. Make sense? Awesome. We'll move from that because otherwise I'll get stuck on that ramble for way too long, and we're going to make this as quick as we can. Celtic Curse, not great. Has good hyper armor. It has a cool little dodge hyper armor thing to it. I like the concept. The Celtic Curse cancels 600 ms. If you can parry a Highlander light, you can parry a Celtic Curse cancel. It's not that useful. There are times when it is. It can catch some people off guard. Not often. Not often at all. We're just talking about duels, by the way. This is just in duels. So super easy parry. You can go into the soft feint, but soft feint's not super useful. I've had people on reaction to me throwing a Celtic Curse guard break me because there's a huge guard break frame into it. It's just that slow. It doesn't seem like it'd be that slow, but man, is it. It really is. So away from there, Celtic Curse is a kind of a lesser issue because you don't have to use it. It's an option. If they change other things and leave that as is, it won't be the end of the world. It's okay. Oh man, I forgot that I have a script in front of me. So this is my favorite one. The Zone. Oh my god, the Zone. The Zone is 25 damage, does a decent bit of it uses a decent bit of your stamina, not the worst in the game. It is 800 ms, 900 ms, somewhere around there. It's bad. There's no mix-up to it. Every zone in the game has something good about it. I mean, every single one, including like Sense getting a rework so he can feint his. They're either quick, they have hyper armor, they have mix-up potential, or they're quick. I think I already said quick. Highlander has none of these. It is not quick, it does not have hyper armor, it does not have mix-up potential, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It literally has no good things about it, except you can get it after guard break. Woo! 25 damage after guard break. Man, if only that was like the normal. You know, when we have heroes doing 30 plus on GB, and get GBs way more often, and use less stamina doing so. I digress. The Zone is awful. I hope they fix it. Sure, it's good for clearing out minions, but lots of zones are good for clearing out minions. and they're more useful in duels. If I don't stop myself there, I'll ramble on about it. Zone's bad. His chains are very bad. On top of the fact that you're never going to throw out a neutral light because it's awful. 600 MS, it's parry bait, especially with people like Lawbringer who are going to eat you alive if you do that. 50 damage for one light thrown. That's real bad juju right there. Chains are bad. He has Warden chains. The only difference is that Warden chains are A, fast, and B, he has his bash, which is completely... It's just ingrained in his chains. Light, heavy, light, heavy. That's all his chains. They're not useful. I will say the good thing about his chains is that his follow-up heavies are quite... they're a lot faster. I think they're like 600 MS. They're quick. Those have great hyper armor on them. You can catch a lot of things with them. Those are fantastic. That's the best things about his chains. That being said, his side heavy recoveries are bad. His top heavy finisher recoveries are abysmal. People like... I'll use Orochi, because Orochi's a common one I encounter. If you throw heavy, cool, he blocks the first heavy, dodges the second heavy, which happens to be a top. Well, he has so much time with that recovery that he can dodge and throw a heavy. Doesn't have to GB, doesn't have to do anything. He can just dodge, heavy. It's like throwing that second heavy is really, really bad in most scenarios. If it just whiffs, that's tough cookies. You're gonna hit with something bad, especially if you're getting ganked. It's just a heavy, you can block it, but God forbid someone dodges it. You're just gonna eat a whole bunch of bad things. GBs, heavies, bashes, anything. You're done. It's Dunyan rings. So he's kind of limited to brief interactions with defensive form. A crushing counter strike here and there. A heavy. That's kind of it. He can't use his full chains because they're not viable. Related to that, before I get away from it, his second light is 700 MS with hyper armor for decent-ish damage. It's like 20-ish, I think. But his heavy finisher is better in every way because it comes out faster, has better hyper armor, and deals way more damage. So there's no point to using that second light. There's no reason. I'm gonna step away from that. I could rant about that forever and ever. His lights are awful. I hope he gets more chains because, like, he doesn't have enough in his defensive form to make use of anything. Before we get off of defensive form, that's my last little bit, my little tirade. Crushing counter-strikes are dangerous. There's very few situations where crushing counter-strike is your better option. Those situations are if your stamina is low, so you can't go into offensive. A crushing counter-strike is perfectly fine. You're going to do 30 damage. That's not bad. It's 30 damage instead of 40, so if you're low on stamina, it's okay. The other is if it's better than parrying certain attacks like, what's the best way to word this? Heavy attacks that cannot be feinted. We're talking, side dashes. There's a lot of heroes that have stuff like that. Heroes that have rushing in heavies that can't be feinted. These are really the only times... Oh, and zones. These are all kind of the only times where throwing a crushing counter-strike is your best option. Every other time, a parry would do you way better. It deals more damage. There is more to it. It's legitimately safer. So, CC is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Sometimes just blocking is better than CC because it's 600 MS light if it doesn't crush and counter strike anything. That's the easiest parry in the world. I digress. I'm gonna get off a defensive. Let's take just a brief moment to talk about some good things. Give me 1 second. I'm about to get a cough. Good things. Offensive form is mostly good. The damage is high. The mix-ups can be very strong. There's still a couple things, but offensive does not need to be buffed. I would change some things, but overall offensive doesn't need to be buffed. So this is gonna be a nice quick bit. Dodge lander thing isn't It's not really around anymore. Only certain heroes can get, you can get away with it on. I'm kind of glad to see Dodge Lander is not a thing. It gets really annoying. It gets really frustrating for the other person. It's not fun to fight against. It doesn't feel like you're having a fight, so that's a nice good thing. One little negative thing about it is Kick the Caber is neutralized by every hero, except the short list of Warden, Conqueror, Lawbringer, Scent, Glad, Goki, and Warlord. Everyone else can completely neutralize that mix-up 100% of the time through some means. It's not just throwing a light, but like they have recoveries, they have extended dodges, they have a whole slew of things that keep them safe from Kick the Caber. So immediately get rid of the strongest mix-up he has. Except for the ones I just listed. Aside from that, his other offensive mix-ups, which really boils down to heavy into kick, heavy into caber, heavy to guard break. Sometimes just raw heavy. All of those can be completely neutralized by Nobushi, Tiani, JJ, and Shinobi. There's no counter to that. Playing offensive against these heroes is very, very difficult. You kind of resorted to either the full triple feint, sometimes, which is heavy to kick to caber. That will catch some people, some of these heroes. Usually it's just resorting to just raw heavies and feinting those, because there's not much else you can do against these heroes. That's like, but I'm kind of okay with that. Offensive is very strong in general. I'll talk about the things I'll fix. I would love to fix in just a second. But overall, offensive does really, really big damage for what it is. It's good that there are card counters to it. I think there should be. Otherwise, I think it'd just be too strong. The things I would change personally, we're looking at. I would reduce the damage. I think if you reduce the damage on his offensive stance down to like 30 or 35, I think that gives us more room to play around with buffing his other attributes that are lacking right now. Right now, his damage is so high in offensive that I think the developers don't want to change anything because it would make him too strong. So I would really love to just get rid of some of that offensive damage. That would give us some room. I would love to fix the stamina on his offensive attacks. The soft feints take a lot of stamina because the way soft feints work. You can check out Freeze's video on this. It attacks on your original attack and the soft feinted into attack. So A plus B. Like that's your total offensive. It's your total stamina damage. That's the right word. Stamina usage. That's the right word. His offensive lights, the 10 taps, they use up 27 stamina. That's ridiculous. They're 10 damage, 400 MS lights. They're enhanced, sure, but that is a lot of stamina for 10 damage. His normal lights do use up 6 stamina, assuming nothing happens, assuming all the right things happen. So I would change that. His offensive heavies use up 20 to 22. Take that as you wish. Right now they're big damage heavies, so that's kind of like hit and miss. If they reduce the damage, like I would like them to, I feel like they should also reduce the stamina cost of that. Other than that, man, Highlander is a weird character right now. He is I don't want to say a mess, but you really do have to play the character with, you have to be like on the top of your game, playing at the best of your capabilities. Like we're talking master, grandmaster level of skill, just to make the character work, kind of. I understand that there are a lot of grandmasters who bane Highlander, and that should tell you something because I don't see Highlanders anywhere else. I love the character. I want him to be good. I would love for his defensive to be better in exchange for some offensive damage. I feel like if we just shift the seesaw weight a little bit, we can make a hero that's fun to play and fun to play against and makes more sense. Anyways, I really needed to get this video out there. It helps me feel better. It lets everyone know, like, kind of the issues that I have with Highlander. The general response to this might be kind of negative, because a lot of people have a notion of Highlander that he's either overpowered or perfectly fine as is, and their general argument is that it's called defensive form for a reason. It's because you're not meant to attack from it. And to that, I call bollocks. Because if they didn't want you to attack from it, they wouldn't have given you chains and ways to attack from it. That, and like, it doesn't make sense, because if a character can counter as offensive, then what does he have? You have to have a backup plan. We'll use Shaolin because he's so similar. Shaolin, if someone can counter your chi stance, well, he has other mix-ups in his base kit without chi stance that you can use to still get some damage in, still get your mix-ups, and just it gives you something more to work with. This is like, of course, going to sound like a negative video. It's not intended as a like, this is why I hate the game. I love the game and I love my hero. I love Highlanders so much. These are the things that these are the things that make it difficult for me to do duel videos, which I super enjoy doing. This is why it's so difficult to do these videos, is because the character's not really good at duels. He's kind of old school Lawbringer, kind of good at duels. So, if you stuck around this far in the video, thank you so much. I really hope he gets worked in the future. If he does, you'll hear me screaming in a video for happiness. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for listening to a crazy man's ramblings. And we'll see you in the next video.